Hi, it's Dot from dotstruck.com, and today I'm making a chocolate peanut butter cup fat bomb. And unlike those other peanut butter cups that your kids probably eat, these don't have sugar, they are loaded with healthy fats, and are very good for you. So come on and let's go ahead and make a batch. Okay, so what is a fat bomb? It's basically, I'll use the word treat, although it's not really a treat, but it is a very, very small treat that is primarily made up of fat, about 85% fat or more, in this one little snack that you might have. I use them primarily for after a workout, and I go for a run right after a muscle workout. I'll build up a lot of hunger a couple of hours later, and I don't want to eat anything because in a few hours I'm going to have dinner. I'll go ahead and have a fat bomb. And what that does, it keeps me satiated. It keeps hunger at bay and also gives me a nice little boost of energy too. That's the beauty of fat. Healthy fats, I should say. The other thing you want to keep in mind with a fat bomb is it's not a meal replacement. That's really important. You're not getting the nutrients that you need. While the healthy fats are very good for you, you're still not getting the types of vitamins and minerals and nutrients that you're getting when you eat meats, eggs, avocado, or leafy greens. So just keep that in mind. You don't have to use them, but if you want to use them, that's fine, just not as a meal replacement. So given that, this particular recipe is based off of the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, but it is not a peanut butter cup. That's another thing. It won't taste like one because it's not going to have all the sugar in it, but it is going to have some wonderful fat. So the ingredients I have in this puppy are, I have extra virgin coconut oil, one of my healthy fats. I've also got some butter, another wonderful fat, unsalted, that's one part of it. I also have peanut butter, which is organic and natural peanut butter, so there's absolutely no other ingredient in it other than the peanuts, so keep that in mind. If you can also use almond butter if you prefer, or macadamia nut butter, but again, make sure there's absolutely no sugar, no salt, no preservatives, nothing in there but the actual nut itself. I also have 100% cocoa powder, which is baker's grade, so it's completely unsweetened. It's just straightforward cocoa powder. And I'm using a sweetener. I'm using, for myself, a teaspoon Swerve that I use. It's up to you what you want to use. If you use stevia in the little packets, probably a packet will do for you. It just depends, but just keep that in mind, is that each sweetener is different as far as the amounts, but I'm using a teaspoon of Swerve for my ingredients. Now, there's no baking involved. Awesome, but there is some cooking for these because you have to melt the peanut butter and the fats together and then add in your chocolate powder and also the sweetener to get all this mix. What you're going to do is when you make them, after you melt everything together, you're going to put them into a mold. Or if you have a mini muffin pan, that'll work too. You just want to probably grease it a little bit. It's going to be a little bit harder to get out unless you've got muffin papers. That's probably the best way to go. I'm using a silicone mold, which is great. The other thing, and so what happens is they just pop right out once they're cooled or frozen. What I like to do though is I'll use a tray and I'll put this on when I put it in the freezer, because otherwise if you're picking this up and you've got your liquid in here, it's just going to be a mess, so you don't want to do that. So I'm going to put this aside. We're going to go to the stovetop and cook this, but I wanted to give you a little tip. If you have one of these Pyrex, or this one's an Anchor type of cup, this is a 2-cup container that can go into a microwave, you can make this in your microwave rather than a stovetop. You just put your fats in first, then your peanut butter, then your cocoa powder, and then your sweetener on top. You put it in your microwave on high, and you do about 20 to 30-second intervals. You want to make sure you don't get it boiling out of the top. I've done that before by mistake. Won't ever do that again. And I can't do it again because I don't have a microwave, so yeah. But you do it maybe 4 or 5 times, and then you just mix it as you're going along, and that's the best way to melt it together. You've got it already in here. You just pour it into your little mold that way. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and go to the stove, and I'm going to start this bomb going. Okay, I've got my pan. I have it already on a low-medium setting, if you will. So the lowest setting for my medium. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add the fats, which is my butter and my coconut oil. And I'm just going to melt them. And because I'm using stainless steel here, I'm just sort of melting them first together. before I start adding the peanut butter. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and add the peanut butter. The one thing when you're using 100% peanut butter, and there's nothing in there, it is stickier, I find. I'm going to go ahead and add my cocoa powder and my sweetener. Now what I'm doing to help break apart the cocoa powder and to make sure everything is really mixed together, I got out my little whisk and I'm whisking everything together. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour it into my little cup. Oh, it smells really good. But I'm going to pour it into here so I can pour this into my molds a lot easier. Okay, as you see, I'm filling up the molds with the mixture. And I try not to go all the way to the top, and I keep a little paper towel just in case, handy, because it does spill. The recipe makes about 20-24. The mold is a little bit larger than that, so that's not that big of a deal. But there we go. I just want to pause there because I want to make sure I get everything in and not on top of the mold. But anyway, what you're going to do is once you fill these in, put all your mixture inside the molds, you're going to put this in the freezer for about 20 minutes. Maybe 30 minutes, depends on how hot your mixture is. And then after that, the fat bombs are pretty much ready. What I do is I keep them in the freezer, primarily because the coconut oil and butter will soften if they're in the fridge, or you certainly can't leave them out. But some people may put them in the fridge. I find that it gets them a little bit too soft and they start sticking together. So I like keeping them in the freezer. All right, I got my molds all filled up. I actually got a little bit more than 24 out of it. This mold holds 30, and so I got 29. Woohoo, bonus for me. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and put these in the freezer. All right, it's been 20 minutes. I've started taking these out of the silicone mold that I have, and as you can see, they just pop right out. Woohoo! Flying all over the place. That makes it a lot easier for a cleanup. Again, if you're using a metal mold, small little molds or small mini muffin tins, then I suggest you use the papers. And what I'm going to do is basically just take these, put them in a freezer bag, and keep them in the freezer. Makes for a real quick grab and go. Word of caution. A serving size is just 1, not 2 or 3. Don't think of these as an actual Reese's peanut butter cup or the minis, because they don't have sugar, but what they do pack a powerful punch on is healthy fats. The first time I made these, I decided, I ate one really fast, and I thought, oh, before it hit my stomach, I thought I'll have another one, and I popped it, and it felt like I overate on Thanksgiving. So that's how potent these puppies are. I'm going to go ahead and pop all of these out, put them in a freezer bag, and go ahead and keep them in my freezer. So till then, if you like the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I hope you give these a try, definitely. Share it with friends. Also, let me know what type of, if you already do fat bombs, what type of fat bombs you actually like to do in your low carb way of living. So until next time, I'll see ya.